I'm your ghost.
I am your ghost.
From the unusually high level of hate release, that is Cleveland band Crypt Kicker.
Yes.
With The World of Ghosts.
Yep.
I'm assuming they are a defunct entity by now.
You are wrong, sir.
Really? They're out there crypt kicking around?
They are back, actually. They were a defunct band, but they played a show in maybe January, and they're playing another show next month, April 18th. I actually thought about blowing off the show to go see it.
Really?
Yeah, because I think it's more like Crypt, because I think it's only half the guys.
Okay, the kicker part is no longer part of this.
I think it's just Woody, the bass player, and Rob, the singer. I could be wrong on that, but in the first show that they played, it definitely wasn't Eric Elkins from Beyond Fear on drums, and Jeff Zitch was not the guitar player. So it's half the band, I guess, but they replaced them, and onward they go. They're having fun playing some. I don't think that they're like serious anymore. I think they're just playing. For I know the first one was a benefit. I'm not sure if the second one is also a benefit or if they just want to play, just getting out and playing.
Just get out there to blow off some steam.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, why not?
And what's crazy is that was like a popular song here in town, World of Ghosts.
It was.
One of my least favorite tunes by that band.
Well, when I started the classic metal show way back in 1996, the station WSTB was known as the Underground, and they played a lot of the Cleveland bands, and that was one of the most requested songs. Was the World of Ghosts.
Yeah, I always liked the song. I think it's called "Absence of Illusion" from the EP, the one that's just "Welcome to the Church of Hate." The first jam on that album is fucking killer. But I loved Crypt Kicker. They were friends of mine and still are friends of mine, and I was a big fan, man. I liked them a lot. And just wasn't meant to be for them. They should have got some kind of a deal. That's the thing that always amazed me, was that lesser bands were getting signed than them. And I'm not saying that they should have been Pantera or anything like that, but come on. They were easily as good as, I don't know, Brickbath. And Brickbath got a deal with like Pavement Records. So they should have gotten something. They didn't get anything. I don't know why.
They couldn't even get on Auburn Records.
No. Bill never signed. I think they were kind of following that independent route, though, because they put out all their stuff all by themselves, and I think they were making pretty good money just being independent, because as you remember, during that time you saw a lot of Crypt Kicker fucking gear, a lot of Crypt Kicker shirts out there, a lot of Crypt Kicker hats. They were doing well by themselves. I don't think that they wanted to deal with a record label that they would have to give up that money.
Well, at that time, that was sort of the beginning of the indies. Mm-hmm. And they sort of, marketed that, and they worked the marketing end of it, and they invested their own time and their own money into this, and they probably did, okay.
I'm sure they did. I mean, every show they played for years was sold out.
Mm.
One of my favorite stories ever, though, was they were opening for Savatage at the old Peabody's. What did the old Peabody's hold? 300 people?
Yeah, it wasn't real big. It had low ceilings in there, and it was, it wasn't a huge place. So I would guess about 300.
Yeah. Well, were you ever backstage at the old Peabody's?
Can't say that I have.
It was about the whole backstage area where you would stash gear for all the opening bands and everything was about as big as my office. Yeah. So what would you say that is, 100 square feet?
Yeah, that was like, 20 by 8?
Yeah, something like
80
that.
80 square feet, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it's not huge. Not huge at all. And Savatage had their gear stored there, and Crypt Kicker came out, and there was like an opening band, and then Crypt Kicker, and then Savatage was the show. And so all the gear wouldn't fit on that little stage. It was not a big stage. So Crypt Kicker had all their gear in the back. And fucking, the roadie for Sabotage came back and saw all this gear all over the place and could barely get in, and just started grabbing Crypt Kicker's gear and throwing it out into the street. He literally took the drums and shit, threw it out in the street. You've met the Crypt Kicker guys. They're not guys that you really want to fuck with too much.
Right.
You know, and they went looking for him, and there was a bar upstairs, and I don't remember what that bar was called. You remember that bar? It was upstairs from Peabody's.
I do.
Whatever that little tiny, and that was a hole in the wall. That probably had like 4 stools in the whole bar. And the guys from Crypt Kicker, and I went up with them, went looking for the Sabotage guys to beat their ass. And once they got there, Chris Caffrey actually settled everybody down and, you know, calmed it down and had their roadie go get their gear out of the fucking street and whatever. But it was almost a big fight between the Crypt Kicker guys and the Sabotage guys. And the Sabotage guys would have lost because there was a lot of Crypt Kicker people there. But yeah, I remember that very well. A very silly story that almost ended up going bad fast.
Sure. Well, speaking of going bad fast.
Yes, sir.
For those of you who enjoy the pleasures of the puss, i.e. enjoying it, tasting it, enjoying it orally.
Okay.
If you like to eat pussy otherwise.
All right.
HPV is causing an oral cancer epidemic in men.
Ugh, really?
By outwitting natural defenses.
By outwitting natural defenses?
Yeah, because, you know, as with any natural disease, if it has a tendency to get stronger after, you know, time passes by, it gets stronger and it's harder to combat.
So what are you catching? What am I going to catch if I keep eating pussy?
You risk the chance of mouth cancer.
Are you shitting me?
No, I'm not shitting you.
Is nothing sacred? I mean, for God's sakes, do we really have to make eating pussy cause cancer?
Yes.
Come on.
It'll make your tongue fall out.
What is wrong with this fucking Lord and Savior?
Well, it isn't that. It's the casual sex that seems to make that stronger.
But couldn't God or Jesus just wave the hand and say, "Look, this is sacred. Pussy eating, we're going to leave that alone. We're going to leave that as a pleasure without consequence."
Right.
Can't we just have that?
Well, the thing is you're not supposed to be eating different pussy every week.
Well, come on, Jesus, give us a break.
Well, a guy who suffered the consequences of that is somebody that you've recently enjoyed some of his video podcasts.
Ricky Rocket?
Ricky Rocket.
Did he get pussy-eating cancer?
He did.
From eating pussy?
Yes.
No shit.
No shit. And so did Michael Douglas, the actor.
No, he won't come on the show. Ricky Rocket would probably come on the show.
Well,
I'd have to work that out.
But how many filthy pussies do you think that Ricky Rocket has his mouth on?
Oh my God! Just thinking about the girls that are at Poison shows.
Well, that's kind of where I'm going with this. Think about it.
Can you imagine the level of wafting that comes out of those spandex at those fat?
I can't account for that, but I'm just going to say that Ricky Rocket and the boys from Poison or whomever, I'm sure has had their fair share of pussies.
Probably so.
And due to that, I'm sure that he contracted his oral cancer from that.
Yeah. But don't you think that a part of it is because that pussy is always sweaty?
Well, I don't know the reason why, but it's the HPV virus that under normal circumstances, your natural immunities would be able to get rid of.
Yeah.
Your natural immunities would say, HPV, you're nothing, get out of here. But now HPV is getting so strong that your natural defenses are defenseless against it.
So you don't think that dirtiness has anything to do with this?
No,
it's
Well, I don't know what causes. I'm not a scientist or a doctor.
Right. Well, as a doctor like I am, let me just tell you my thoughts. With rock stars, I have to think that a part of it is that they're sticking their mouth on dirty pussies. And the reason I say that is because thinking about regular sex, like between two normal people, a lot of the time, more of the time, you mix in a shower right before you fucking throw down. Fair?
Well, I would assume that most civilized people would be, but
comparatively is what I'm saying though, is comparatively to after a show, you get a chick that's been jumping up and down for 2 fucking hours.
She's been dancing around and bebopping around and shaking the thang during that show.
It's like licking an armpit. Only it's a puss.
Right.
Because it's all sweaty and gnarly.
Yeah, because it's all got a lot of bacteria going on there.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm going to hold out hope that that's the real reason here. Because they're eating dirty, smelly pussy.
Dude, you gotta come quick. There's these 2 filthy pussies just aching to get boned by us.
That's right. They are aching to get boned.
Filthy pussies.
Yes.
All right, 5 years ago when actor Michael Douglas candidly revealed that his throat cancer was linked to having oral sex, 2 things happened.
Right.
He made headlines that mortified his family, and he helped publicize the fact that a pervasive sexually transmitted virus called HPV was unleashing an epidemic of oral cancer among men.
That's just sad.
Since then, scientists have made headway into figuring out why HPV, the human, I won't even say this word, papillomavirus, has its glaring gender bias.
Oh, good.
Men are 4 times more likely than women to be diagnosed with oral cancer, a hard-to-detect, hard-to-treat disease that has overtaken cervical cancer as the most common HPV-related malignancy in the United States.
This is really tragic news.
It is tragic news. That's why I had to bring it to the table, because a majority of our listeners are heterosexual men who love to eat pussy.
We might have to end the show after this story and go into mourning. This is really sad. So basically, us eating pussy is the equivalent to gay guys fucking each other in the ass.
Yes,
now.
Pretty much. You could get AIDS from fucking each other in the ass, or you could get mouth cancer from eating pussy.
So just acting like a normal guy is going to kill you.
Pretty much, yes.
Jesus fucking Christ, this is horrible.
Yes, it's true.
It's terrible news.
Absolutely. So,
Jesus, what is that Phil Ooze put in there? Looks like a girl with an octopus between her legs. The fuck is that? That's a meaty puss.
It is.
You ever seen a pussy that meaty?
I have not.
I've barely seen an Arby's that's that meaty. God. All right, go ahead.
But anyway, if you have a proclivity for enjoying the puss that way, there might be some bad news for you.
Man, this is really tragic news. I love to eat pussy. more than actual fucking, I think.
Yeah, I follow you there.
Oh, you want to hear about Arizona? Well, I just found out when I was in my hotel room that oral sex was illegal. Now, that fucking bummed me out.
Can you
I love to eat pussy.
Can you imagine? You're under arrest.
Now, come on. We were rather shocked to hear that, really. Yeah. But unfortunately, we did break the law an awful lot when we were in Arizona.
All right. So Nader and the boys love to eat pussy as well.
No kidding. Wow.
To be sure, changes in sexual norms over the last few generations have played a role in this alarming trend, but research increasingly shows the real problem is something men have practically no control over, and that would be their immune response.
So what are we supposed to do? Put a condom on our tongue?
Well, I guess you're not supposed to eat pussy anymore.
Fuck. Jesus.
Compared with women, men are more likely to get infected with HPV, including high-risk cancer-causing strains. They also are less able to wipe out infection on their own and more likely to get reinfected. And the reason is unclear.
Please tell me that chicks are still going to be okay to suck cock.
Well, I don't know of any cock-sucking disease.
All right.
I'm not aware of it.
Could you call in with some answers to that?
There is a good evidence that men acquire oral infections more readily than women, even if they have similar sex practices.
Mm-hmm.
And more than the acquisition, it's the persistence of the virus. The clear rate is not that fast, or the clearance rate is not that fast in men. Michael Becker of Yardley has stepped up as the face of the immunological inequality. That's what they call it.
Okay.
The 49-year-old former biotech executive is health conscious, clean living, happily married for 26 years, and battling terminal boy, this is a long word.
Oral cancer.
Yes, cancer.
All right.
The medical term for malignancies in the parts of the mouth and the throat.
Jesus.
He's also, well, see, that then you have to look at your wife. It's like, listen, we've been married for 26 years. You're the only pussy I've had my mouth on in the last 26 years, and I'm getting cancer now.
Right.
Who have you been fucking? Wouldn't that be the question?
Right.
He's also battling the misconceptions and ignorance that keep too many parents from protecting their prepubescent children, especially the boys, against the HPV-driven cancers.
Jesus.
2 shots, that's all it takes from a leading vaccine. Gardasil.
So you can avoid this if you haven't had it by just getting a shot?
Yeah, apparently if you're young, you can get a preventative shot, kind of like a vaccine.
Like the mumps virus.
Or polio.
Measles, any of that shit.
Yeah, exactly. To prevent most cervical cancers, less common genital malignancies. And
Am I too old to get this shot?
I think that you're too old.
Sucks.
Look at the Joker in the chat room.
Yeah, I see that.
73 to 2018. He died from eating too much pussy.
That's right.
Anyway, Gardasil is used to prevent most cervical cancers, less common genital malignancies, and disease that is killing Becker. I can't tell you how many emails I get from parents after the CBS segment. He said, referring to the national television interview last month, they said, "What do you mean this vaccine is for boys? And what do you mean oral cancer incidences have eclipsed cervical cancer?" HPV is a family of more than 100 virus types that can live in the flat, thin cells in the surface of the skin, the cervix, the vagina, the anus, the vulva, the penis, and mouth and throat. The virus is... Go ahead.
This story's really bumming me.
I know, but we got to be informative, too. We got to help out our fellow heterosexual men who enjoy the pleasures of a woman.
Yeah, to not enjoy the pleasures of a woman.
Just to be a little more cautious, I guess.
What do you mean cautious? Dude, not all of us are banging 12-year-olds like you.
Well, but the thing is if you're out there banging out chicks at the local bar every week, there's probably a higher probability that you could get that, contract that.
But, I mean, let's be real. If you're banging a 40-year-old chick, 40 to 50-year-old chick, the odds are she's had 20, 30, 40 dicks in her. Right?
Well, I think, yeah, well, there could be some truth to that, yes.
Okay, so if that's the case, are you going to tell me not one of those dicks had this HPV that's now on her pussy?
Well, that's the risk you take.
Ugh, I hate this. I fucking hate this.
The virus is spread through contact with infected skin, mucous membranes, and bodily fluids. Some types can be passed during intercourse or, as Douglas pointed out, during oral sex.
So now when I go on a date,
Yes.
I got to ask them if they ever had a dick or if they ever had an infected dick.
Yeah. Have you had HPV or, have you ever had cervical cancer?
Yeah. Have you ever had a penis? No? Oh, well, good. Well, has your pussy ever been sick? Boy, that's going to go real well. I wonder if I'll get to the second Applebee's date. Ugh.
Well, virtually all sexually active people will get infected at some point. The virus is usually wiped out by the immune system without so much as a symptom.
But now that's not the case.
Yeah, because it's getting stronger.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so years ago, that was never even an issue because HPV could be knocked out by your natural immunities.
Mm-hmm.
But now, because of, generations have passed now, and now it's getting stronger.
And plus, as we get older, we get weaker. We have a weaker immune system.
Maybe.
Oh, my God. This is the worst. This is the worst story you've ever done on this show.
But not always. In the cervix, persistent infection with high-risk HPV types can lead to precancerous changes that, left alone, slowly turn malignant. Unfortunately, a pap smear enables the detection and removal of the abnormal cells before the cancer develops. What's more, age-related changes in cervical cells reduce the risk that HPV will take hold there as women get older. So you got to stay away from the younger ones, I guess. So I guess I would be more apt to contract that than somebody who chooses to bang middle-aged women.
I'm going to start dating at the senior citizens home.
So basically, as women get older, chances are you're not going to get it.
I will only eat your pussy if you have blue hair. That's going to be my new rule.
Yep.
And natural blue from the all the years of hairspray just killing your hair.
Exactly.
I need a white top, please. I'll eat your pussy if you've never worn anything but a muumuu for the last 10 years.
Exactly. No such screening test exists for the oral cancer sites: the tongue, the soft palate, the tonsils, the throat behind the nasal cavity. The symptoms don't usually appear until cancer is advanced. Becker, for example, had metastasized disease by the time he noticed a lump under his jawline in 2015.
Right.
Traditionally, smoking and heavy alcohol use are a big risk factor for oral cancer.
This is getting worse by the minute.
But the non-HPV tumors linked to these bad habits have been declining over the recent years.
I do not want to hear the word tumors when we're talking about eating pussy.
All right?
Ugh.
Well, I'm going to have to throw tumors in there again.
Oh, Neeley, come on.
HPV-related tumors, in contrast, have increased more than 300% over the last 20 years. The virus is now found in 70% of all new oral cancers.
Oh, my God.
About 13,200 new HPV oral cancers are diagnosed in the U.S. men each year, compared with the 3,200 in women, according to federal data. Treatment, be it surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, can have disfiguring, disable side effects. About half of late-stage patients die within 5 years.
She's gone from suck to blow.
Exactly. Oral HPV infection rates are skewed by gender, just like the resulting cancers. The latest national estimate of the disparity, published in October, Comes from a University of Florida study. They used a federal health survey that collected DNA specimens to estimate that 7.3% of men and 1.4% of women have oral infections with high-risk HPV types. So basically 7 out of 100?
Yeah.
That translates to 7 million men and 1.4 million women.
All right.
The chances of oral infections increase for women as well as men who have simultaneous genital HPV infections or a history of many sexual partners.
Oh, my God.
But male infections rates still far surpass female rates. But going back to a Ricky Rocket thing, many sexual partners.
Oh, yeah.
So you take a Ricky Rocket who was in one of the, most popular bands of the 80s.
Sure.
How many chicks do you think that guy banged?
Thousands.
Thousands.
Yeah, I mean, he was in a successful band for 25 years.
Of course. How many chicks has a Chris Aiken or a Neeley banged?
Yeah, but my number's pretty high from those Korean days.
Yeah, but that was back then. If you haven't experienced that by now,
yeah,
chances are it's not going to affect you now.
Yeah, and let's hope at least those chicks are.
Yeah, your immune system knocked that out already if it even existed.
Yeah, but now these new chicks, I'm fucking playing with fire.
Well, that's kind of why I'm bringing this to your attention.
No, it's not going to stop me, but I mean, I am playing with fire.
Well, of course. Sleeping in the fire, as Blackie Lawless said.
Yeah. Oh, this is awful.
Patty Gravitt, an HPV researcher at George Washington University, believes these estimates are a bit oversimplified because women counted as uninfected may have been undetectably low levels of HPV. They may be hiding dormant in their cells.
Okay.
Still, Gravitt said that the study is in line with others that suggest men are more susceptible to HPV viral infections than women.
Right.
In women, an HPV infection usually sets off the body's defense mechanism. The immune system makes antibodies that kill off the invader. Then immune cells remain on guard, ready to attack if the virus reappears. But in men, something goes awry. The HIM study for HPV in men documented this by collecting genital, anal, and oral samples from 4,100 unvaccinated men in Florida, Mexico, and Brazil.
Oh, boy.
Between 2005 and 2009. The samples were tested for the presence of 2 high-risk HPV types and 2 that cause genital warts.
Ugh.
Among the 384 men who developed the infections during a 24-month period, only 8% produced antibodies. But this response rate varied depending on the site of infection. None of the small number of orally infected men produced antibodies.
So all of the guys were susceptible.
Well, everybody's susceptible.
But I mean more susceptible because they're not producing any antibodies,
well, they're
right?
saying that 8% of them did not produce the antibodies.
Oh, so that's not so bad. 92% chance that you're not going to.
Correct.
All right. I guess that's not horrible, but still, 8%. That's a lot.
Yeah. Rather than putting the immune system on guard and protecting men from the virus, infection sharply increased the chance of getting infected again with the exact same HPV type. And many men who got reinfected were celibate at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the gift that kept on giving.
I'm doing the math in my head here, and I'm all of a sudden getting really scared by that, though, because when you're saying 8%, that means if a chick does 15 guys,
yes,
odds are likely that you're going to get sick. Because one of isn't like 1 out of 14 is 8%, I think. or 1 out of 13, somewhere in there, 13 to 14 would be 8%. So if you go out with a chick that likes to fuck, you're doomed. You're just doomed. Wow. I don't like these studies at all.
Well, if a chick banged 15 guys,
yeah,
1.2% of them could possibly get the HPV infection.
Right.
So 1 out of 15.
Yeah, but if they bang 15 guys, the odds are, if you're number 16, that you're going to get sick. You're going to get sick.
Possibly, yes.
Possibly, but the odds are highly likely.
Yes.
Oh, my God. 15 is not that many. Is it?
No, not really.
I mean, that's not very many at this age. No, you're 40 years old. You've been fucking for 20 years. That's less than one a year. Figure you had 5 years where you were married, but then the rest of it, 15 years, that's one a year. That's a fucking low number.
Look at Deep Cut in the chat room.
That's so true. So bad at math. How I own 2 fucking businesses is beyond me, because I am beyond awful at math. But
look at Phil lose.
What is he? What did he say? Oh, yuck. God. All right, now if you go down on that, you deserve to get sick.
Exactly.
That's just brutal there.
That's nasty.
Tell that girl to take her coat off. Jesus Christ. Is that a girl?
I think so. I don't see a cock there, do you?
No, but all the rest of it looks manly.
It does.
Jesus.
It's an unshaven chick.
Yeah, no shit.
She must be from France or something.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah. All right, then rather than putting the immune system on guard and protecting men from the virus, infection sharply increases the chance of getting infected again with the exact type of HPV. How could this be? Asked a researcher from the Cancer Center in Tampa, Florida, who led the HIM study that said that the recurring infection may be due to reactivation of dormant viruses or auto-inoculation. The man spreads infection from one part of his body to another or to something else entirely. While the scientific the scientific understanding of this puzzle is evolving, one implication is clear: HPV vaccination is the only reliable method of ensuring immune protection against new HPV infections and subsequent disease in males. Becker hammers that message when he is not being hammered by chemotherapy, using his self-published memoir and his blog. This week's blog gave a shout out to Sunday's first ever International HPV Awareness Day, declared by Giuliano and other members of the International Oral Cancer Society. Becker realizes that the novelty of the vaccine and the complexity of HPV and its link to sex are obstacles to immunization, but he focuses on the life-saving aspect. Parents are being asked to vaccinate their 11-year-old child, and they can't imagine 30 or 40 years down the line it will prevent cancer.
Do you mind not posting this story? I got certain people I don't want hearing this.
If you don't know it's connected to 6 cancers, you're not going to care, so it really should be cast as an anti-cancer vaccine.
Ugh. This story sucks.
It does suck.
I hate this story. This is the worst story in the history of the CMS. God damn it. All right. Can you move on from this story?
I can.
I can't take another second of this train wreck of a story. It's terrible.
Yep. So, anyway, for those who enjoy tasting that puss, just watch yourself.
Yeah, no shit.